Hey everyone, I'm Julia, and in this video, I'm going to take you on a virtual tour of a very special kind of animal hospital that we have here in Goleta, called the Santa Barbara Wildlife Care Network. At the Santa Barbara Wildlife Care Network, a team of staff and volunteers care for over 190 different species of wild animals that are found locally in this area. Can you guess the names of any of the animals that they might take care of? The way it works is, if you ever find a wild animal that seems injured or sick, you can call the Wildlife Care Network and ask them what you can do to help. Depending on the situation, you might be able to help the animal on your own, or they might ask you to bring the animal into their center where they have vets and vet techs who can help treat that animal so that it can heal and eventually be re-released back into the wild so that it has a second chance to live a wild life. In this video, we will get to see a few of the animals that are being treated right now, including baby possums, pelicans, a hawk, and more. We will also get to hear from my friends Claire and Tema about what it's like to care for wildlife. Have you ever considered working with animals when you grow up? What questions would you ask Claire and Tema about working with wild animals?
Two little baby opossums in here. Hi, sweethearts. I know, hiss. This one's extra special because he's all black, which is kind of unique for their coloring.
I remember when this guy came in. I think he's from Lompoc. Yeah, usually they're kind of a silvery gray like him, so you can see that this one's kind of special colored. Now, possums are marsupials. They're the only native North American marsupial, and they are really, really special animals because their favorite food are ticks. And we hate ticks, but possums love them. They'll eat 1,000 ticks per month. And possums are really special because they have such a low body temperature that the rabies virus cannot incubate in their bodies. All they do is eat the ticks in your yard and then move on, and they're super cute looking. So we really want to protect our possums.
Oh, this little squirmy friend.
They have lots of different personalities too.
Yeah, so we have hundreds of crows throughout the season, baby crows, orphan crows. They're actually my favorites. They're really cute. They open their mouth and they make this really cute sound when you feed them. And crows are scavengers. They eat all sorts of food. We give them things from scrambled eggs to soaked dog kibble to fruits, veggies, all sorts of things throughout the season. Yeah. Worms,
everything.
They're everything. They're awesome. But yeah, they're one of my favorite animals. I think they're really smart. I think they're misunderstood. Something that crows do is you can sometimes watch them. Not all of them do it, but once in a while, I've noticed on the street, and I've heard about it before also, is they'll actually wait for the light to turn green before they cross the road.
Whoa.
Or if you'll watch, they'll put like a nut down or something on the ground and for a car to run over it and then go pick it up for them to crack it. They're extremely intelligent animals, and people don't give them enough credit, I believe, and I love crows. I think they're really, really cool.
I have UC Health, which is like for a university, and it's actually included. So, yeah.
They're so playful, so silly. They'll, give them fish and they tear them up, and they're raccoons have such character when they're babies. I mean, I'm sure as adults too, but we don't see them as much. We get the babies. But this is our raccoon resort. Being at the Wildlife Care Network, you really get to see such individual personalities of animals that just like your dogs and your cats at home have individual personalities, each animal here does too. Each bird, each raptor, each raccoon, each skunk, you know, everybody has their individual personality, and it's really cool to see.
Nice, just like at Girls Inc.
Totally. So right now we're gonna go grab a pied-billed grebe. He's patient 3001. And then he came to us with a broken leg. And this is a really small bird with a really special bone structure. So it was really difficult for Tema and our veterinarian to operate on him to try to pin his leg to save his leg. But now he's recovering really well, and we're gonna let him go for a little swimming lesson real fast.
It was a very difficult surgery. It was, I think, a more than 2-hour surgery that Dr. Ava Berkowitz and I monitored the surgery we're in. And it's a very difficult surgery to do, and we got through it, luckily, and he's recovering really well at this point, and we'll see. We're just, crossing our fingers and hoping for the best. Just like every animal, we grab them with a towel, make sure their head's covered. They're not pets, they are wild animals. We want them to stay that way. We don't want them to like people, because not all people love animals in the same way we do. A lot of them are mean to them, so we want to make sure that they're scared of people so they don't go up to people that aren't nice to animals. Alright, if you want to come over here. Here you go. You can look at, I'm going to put him in.
So this is a safe little mini pool for him?
Yeah, this is a little overflow pool. He can do his thing. We can keep it clean, and then we'll be able to grab him out at the end.
Looks like a pretty good swimmer to me.
Yeah, you'll see. He'll slowly go farther and farther. He goes, being the other vet techs say, he turns from a boat to a submarine real quick.
See the brown pelicans pretty well. Brown pelicans with darker plumage are adults. So this handsome guy right here with the dark chest and the white head, that's an adult. And then the one to his right, this is a juvenile. He's got kind of a sandy brown look to him, to his feathers. We have 5 pelicans in the black pool right now. They're working on gaining some weight, making sure that they can fly really, really well. It's always a good sign when they hop up on top of high things like that guy is. So we need to make sure that we outfit this enclosure with plenty of very level perching.
They're probably going to fly away from me, hopefully.
Those who can.
They're pelagic birds, so their feet are kind of far back on their body. See how they stand up nice and straight? That means they can't run very fast on land. And a big problem at Haskell's Beach is people let their dogs off the leash. Dogs are always faster than cormorants. See, he's not super fast. And so these poor cormorants have been in danger of dog attacks. Many cormorants have come to us after being attacked by dogs. So if you're at the beach, be super mindful if you're with your dog, and make sure to watch out for wildlife, because they're not used to sharing their habitat with dogs, and they were here long before we were, long before our dogs were, so we need to respect them.
Good job, buddy. Good job.
Yeah, so they can like dive down really deep and swim well underwater, right?
Yeah, they can. And do you see how what they're doing with their wings right now? They're actually trying to dry themselves off, and so cormorants have they have a smaller gland that's kind of just above their butt, and when birds preen, they get oils from a gland that's right near their tail, and then they zip those through the feathers to try to make their feathers nice and tight so it helps them fly and swim. Cormorants don't really have that, not too much, and so they have to air dry, which is what they're doing right now. Another thing to look at is, if you look at these birds, they're kind of meaty. They're really muscular. They are very, very strong animals. And they have a little hook at the end of their beak that can do a lot of damage if they use it the way that they want to. Same with the pelicans. They also have a hook at the end of their beak, but they're a little bit less dangerous and fast as the cormorants are. And so we need to be really strong enough and gentle enough so that we aren't harming the animals, but still able to restrain them so that we can do intake exams, we can give them the medications that they need, perform checkups, take their temperature. So we need to be really in control of these animals. And it's pretty gnarly work. And most of us here at the Wildlife Care Network are women, and we're the ones that are wrestling with these really large animals and keeping control over them. But it's something that it doesn't matter if you're a girl or a guy or non-binary or anything. If you love animals, then we kind of put our heads down and learn how to hold them safely, which obviously is not something that you should try at home, but if you want to get involved with wildlife rehab or working with wildlife, that's something that you need to be confident in, is your ability to be strong, be confident about the knowledge that you have. The animals never thank us for anything that we're doing. They obviously always think, like, why are you hurting me? Why are you holding me? Why are you doing any of this? And there's no way we can ever communicate we're trying to help you. But we know we have to get these animals to eat. We have to get them better so that they can live a wild life again. And once they go out into the wild, we'll probably never see them ever again. They'll never say thank you. They'll never...
I mean, I don't like going to the doctor, and I know why I'm going to the doctor.
So it's really important that we respect their boundaries, as they are wild animals. They're not cats or dogs. We're not going to, we can't treat them the same way.
We actually kind of want the animals to be afraid of us. Out in nature, we can't guarantee that people are going to be as kind as the ones here. So we have to make sure that the animals aren't comfortable around people. These ones are still a little scared of us, but this is our baby ducklings. And as you see, they're not fully waterproof yet, and that's why we don't live in a big pool yet, is because we want to make sure they can get out. But they have a little bit of water in here to learn how to swim around. When I started volunteering here is how I got my start, started volunteering. Ducks are what I did almost every single day. I came in, you only have to volunteer, when you're a volunteer, you typically come in once a week. I came in 5 days a week when I started volunteering because I just loved it here so much. But I would come in every morning and I'd feed baby bunnies, which was a special thing that I did, but then I'd also take care of the baby ducks. Most everybody who worked here got their start from volunteering. And I grew up in Santa Barbara, and I had heard about Wildlife Care Network because I had brought many animals here, and I knew I loved animals and I wanted to work with animals, and so I decided to come volunteer. I volunteered here, like I said, 5 days a week, and after a little while, baby season started up. Baby season, all these animals have babies, ducks, and it just gets kind of a lot here, a lot of animals. And so they hire a few people for baby season. So I got the call, would you like to work in baby season? And so that was 3-ish years ago. And I got the call and I was like, yes, of course. So I started working here as an animal care staff member, and I worked here for a season. And then I actually left and I traveled a little bit. I went to Israel, went to India, worked with animals. And when I came back to Santa Barbara, I started working as a vet assistant at a vet's office. And I've done that for 2 years, and then they decided to have a vet. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to go back to wildlife. I miss working with wildlife, and now that I've worked with a vet before, I want to do that. So I applied to come back here and work with the vet, and they were like, yeah. So I got hired, and now I've been here for a few months doing that, and I love it. And I think it's a really rewarding job getting to work with the animals, getting to help out the community, and just getting to see animals grow and flourish and get healed, and it's really awesome. My job is a lot of the medical, a lot of figuring out medications, doing the math of that, figuring out the quantity of fluids an animal needs. A lot of it is using my brain, but a lot of it is also using my physical muscle, carrying big bags of food, putting together an enclosure. Claire and I the other day had to put big pallets of wood on top of an enclosure to make shade for animals. So a lot of it is using your brain power, but a lot of it's also using your physical power. So here you just kind of use it all, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
So a lot of our enclosures are named after Harry Potter things. This is Hufflepuff. It's named because the crows used to be in here. You'd think Ravenclaw, but no. Although they're closely related, crows' personalities as babies are much more Hufflepuffs. Mm-hmm. You can go in and you can see some of the creativeness of how people have made some shelving. We're going to be a little quiet though, because there's a hawk living in here.
We're going to give him plenty of space, but if we look around this enclosure, you can see a lot of different varied levels of perching. Some of these perches are on chains which can swing. This replicates when the birds are out in the wild and they land on a branch that has some give. They need to have realistic perching so that they know what to expect and their muscles are ready for it. And you can also see netting all over the sides. That's to make sure that the birds don't injure themselves or get stuck on any of the fencing while they're flying around. It can really hurt wings and feathers to hit chain link metal really hard, so that helps protect them. So at the Wildlife Care Network, we care for wild animals, of course, and these are very different from domestic animals. There's a lot of reasons why we shouldn't try to take care of wild animals in our houses as much as you might want to, especially if you find a wild animal in need. Kind of our first instinct as people who love animals is, I'm gonna care for it and nurture it and give it food and water and make sure that it can grow up because I love it so much. But that's actually somewhat the worst thing that we can be doing for it. Imagine if you find a tiny baby hummingbird and you have it in your cupped hands and you bring it up to your face and you say, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make sure that you survive, and now you're showing them your frontwards facing eyes and your big white teeth. And that's gonna make that baby hummingbird really scared. They don't know that you're not going to hurt it. They don't know that you're trying to help. And another really upsetting thing about taking wild animals out of their habitat and into our homes means that they're no longer fulfilling their role in the ecosystem. So if you were to imagine taking one of those cute little possums into your house and making it your pet, although that possum looks really cute now, it's not going to be so cute in a few months. And it's not going to be able to eat 1,000 ticks every month. It's not going to be able to eat all the things that it needs to eat, which keep the ecosystem in balance. The only reason why we don't have tons of horrible mosquitoes and insects and ticks and everything that we don't like everywhere is because we have all of those animals keeping their populations in check. It keeps the whole ecosystem in balance, and we can't remove them from that as much as we want to. And so we need to, confront our selfish tendencies. As cool as these animals are, they need to stay wild. And
a lot of our birds here are cat caught, which is really hard, and so we really do suggest that you keep cats inside. A lot of wildlife is endangered by outdoor kitties. So we do suggest keeping your cats inside for the safety of lizards, of birds, of rodents, of all sorts of things.
Yeah.
If you want to keep your cats inside, but say your parents don't, then what you can also do is put little bells on them to give the birds just a chance to hear them. Put those little collars, those breakaway ones, so if the cat's a tree climber, they're not going to get stuck. But a little breakaway collar, but on those collars have a little bell.
Do you think you could tell me a little bit about what you guys were like as kids?
Totally. Yeah.
I was surprisingly very shy as a kid. I was very shy. I didn't actually like to do group activities. I remember I actually did go to Girls Inc. and it was one of the times I did have some fun. That sounds fun. I did have some fun. I liked Girls Inc., but at the same time, I was so shy that I just liked to be home with my mom and my pets. I've always connected more with animals than people. I grew up with lots of animals. I grew up always with lots of dogs and cats, and I was very fortunate that I grew up in a way that I could be around animals. So it's a skill, being able to be around animals, and it's something that a lot of people have to learn, and I'm lucky that I've always had that skill.
Yeah. I was pretty similar to you, actually. I was also really shy, really quiet, and I was a huge nerd. Something that I love to do is just memorize things that I'm really into, memorize fun facts, and memorize as many different species of plants and animals as I possibly can. And so something I would do when I was little is see how many different bugs I could find in a single day, and just count them and draw pictures of them and write them down and learn more and more about them, and then tell all of my new fun bug facts to my parents, who would roll their eyes and like, oh, Claire, you're such a nerd. But now I get to do that for a living. I get to go into schools, I get to talk to groups, and I get to share all these nerdy facts about wildlife and also try to encourage people to help save them. And it's really, really fun and rewarding. So definitely follow whatever you're nerdy about and just go with it.
I completely agree. I read a letter that I wrote to myself when I was really young recently, and it said something like, I hope that you're a veterinarian, but if you're not, that's okay. At least I know you'll be working with animals. And I was like, that's so true. I am working with animals, and I'm a veterinary's assistant. That's very close. And I think that it's, as a kid, there's so many job opportunities out there. And when you're younger, you don't get to know all these job opportunities. And as you grow, you get to see that there can be a veterinarian, but you can also be a veterinary's assistant, a veterinary technician, there's so many places in the veterinary world you can work, not just a veterinarian.
If you are thinking about becoming a professional or a bigger nerd at something or just an expert, volunteer there. Just do it. Put in some time. You'll learn so much about it. You'll get to be hands-on with the things that you're really into. There's no other substitution on earth. Volunteer at those places.
Yes. Don't be discouraged. I've applied for things and told no to things. Don't give up. Just keep going. And don't let disabilities hold you back. I'm very dyslexic, I'm very ADHD, and I've been told I can't do things, and that's never let anything stop me. I have always thought, I've had animal experience. I just work really hard, and that has gotten me a lot farther than people telling me I can't do things.
Yeah. And as women, the Wildlife Care Network is mostly women that work here, so don't ever let somebody tell you, oh, you can't do that, that's too dangerous, or that's too heavy, you should go find a strong man to go pick that up for you. You can handle it. Yeah, you're smart, you're capable, you can handle all of this. We do it every single day at the Wildlife Care Network, and we're all a team of strong, powerful women.
It's very true.
Uh-huh.